Hello, everybody, and welcome to Scouting Network. Today, we're going to talk about some transfer options for Premier League teams. And first, we're going to start with Arsenal. I think Arsenal certainly must replace Mesut Ozil because he hasn't performed lately, and he only has 2 assists this season, which isn't enough. So the best, I think, replacement should be Ehteren from PSV. He's a 17-year-old. He has scored 3 goals and has 4 assists this season. He also has 2.7 shots, 2.1 key passes, and 2.8 dribbles per game, which is amazing for a 17-year-old. And under Arteta, I think has more room for development. Okay, and second, we're gonna talk about West Ham. West Ham are in need of 3 positions: a goalkeeper, centre back, and a striker. I think for a goalkeeper, there is Benitez from Nice. He will be a free agent in the summer, and he's an amazing goalkeeper. He has great reflex, amazing dive, and good handling of the ball. And I think he could be a good competition for Fabianski. For the centre back position, I don't think our West Ham rely on Balbuena, Diop, and Bona as they haven't been good enough. They haven't proved themselves. Maybe Diop have attracted some interest from some big teams, but I don't think it's good enough. So the best option for me is Jico. He's 25-year-old. He plays at Strasbourg, and he makes around 1.8 tackles, 2.2 interceptions, 3.1 clearances, and wins 2.5 aerial duels per game, which is good for a League 1 player. And striker position, for me, Haller is a great striker, but he has found it hard in the Premier League as there isn't really someone at West Ham to challenge him. Jetty hasn't been good enough. Antonio isn't a striker, so there hasn't been anyone to challenge him. But I think the best option could be Bore. He's plays for River Plate. He's 24, and he has scored 12 goals this season and has 2 assists. As he also makes around 2 shots per game and 1.3 key passes. And he's more like an Aguero type of player and has a really good positioning in the box. He's a great finisher, and I think West Ham are really in need of that kind of player. So I think Bode could be the best option for West Ham. Third team is Newcastle United. They're in really need of a striker, I think, because Joelinton has been a big flop. He has only scored 1 goal in the Premier League and has 2 assists, which is like embarrassing for a 40 million pound player. Um, so I think they should buy Carling Grant from Huddersfield. He's a great player. He has played in the Premier League before. He has proved himself. He scored around, I think, 6 goals for Huddersfield at the end of the season, and could be a great option for Newcastle. He's only 21. He has scored 16 goals and had 4 assists this season. He also makes 2.7 shots per game and 1.3 key passes. He can also drift to the wing at times, so he could be a different type of player to Joelinton, as he has pace, good control, and good dribbling ability, which Joelinton doesn't really have. So I think Carling Grant could really prove himself and solve the striking, I think, you can say problem at Newcastle. And he is valued around like 20 million, so it will be a good deal for Newcastle. Now we move to our fourth team. Our fourth team is Everton. I think Everton are really in need of a centre back because first they don't have depth in that position. Second, there's always a mistake in centre backs. Keane and Mina aren't good enough for me. I think Holgate has proven himself this season. So I think the best option is Senesi. He's a Feyenoord player. He's a 22-year-old. He has improved Feyenoord massively since coming, I think, in January last season. They were seventh in the league, and pushed them third position. So he's a great player. He makes around 2.4 tackles, 1.8 interceptions, 3.6 clearances, 0.9 blocks, which is amazing. And he wins around 2.1 aerial duels. And I think he could be a great option for Everton if they look to sign him in the summer. Uh, and after signing Obi from Arsenal in the summer, Everton expected big things from this player as he did show some good performances at Arsenal and he was their main man at times. So Everton did expect big things from this player, but he didn't deliver. And £40 million, he hasn't been good enough. So I think Everton should sign Rashica. He's plays at Werder Bremen. He's 23 years old. He has scored 7 goals and has 4 assists this season, as well as making 3 shots per game, 1.6 key passes, and 2.2 dribbles, which is massive for Everton. And they really need that type of player on the left, which could be great left side for Everton with Dini there. And with a good dribbling ability, I think he could be a great signing for Everton. Yeah, now we move to our fifth team. Our fifth team is Leicester City. And with Evans and Sunk at the back, Leicester have the defense sorted out, but I think they still need a backup option for these players. And Van Houston is a great option. He plays for Standard Liège. He's 20-year-old. He makes around 2.4 interceptions, 4 clearances, 1.2 blocks, which is amazing for a 20-year-old. And he wins around 2.6 aerial duels per game. And he plays for Belgium's under 21s and I think has a bright future. And hopefully it will be Atlas. The last team we're going to talk about in this video is Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace really need a centre back because most of their players are over 30, except Kelly, I think. So the best option for the centre back position could be Turkmen. He plays for Trabzonspor. He's a 22-year-old, and he's a leader at the back. He's only 22 and is a leader, which is a great thing. He makes around 2.5 tackles, 1.6 interceptions, 4.7 clearances, and 0.9 blocks per game. And if Crystal Palace could sign him, they could have a great player at their hands. The second position I think they need strengthening in is a striker because Bentica and Tuzan haven't been good enough. They can't score goals and they can't do a job for Palace. So the best option I think is Diallo. He plays for Meds. He's 24-year-old. He has scored 12 goals and has 3 assists this season and makes around 2.9 shots per game and wins around 4.3 aerial duels, which is what Palace really need. They play that long ball, which could really need that strong and physical player up front. So I think Diallo could be the best option for Palace in the summer, as he also attracted interest from Chelsea and other Premier League teams. And if Palace could sign him, he would be a great signing. This would be the end of the video. I hope you liked the video, and we're gonna make more videos of this concept and maybe other things too. So thank you, and I wish you liked the video. Bye.